This story has 3 updates. Well, never thought I would be on a forum to tell strangers how mystery fishing gear exposed my wife's infidelity. I am pretty sure you guys don't hear about fishing gear all the time causing drama in a marriage. Never in a million years I thought I would be telling this story. I mean, who discovers their wife is cheating because of fishing equipment? I bartend at this upscale restaurant downtown. Late nights, decent tips, interesting people. My wife works in insurance, 9 to 5, steady income, boring meetings. We met through mutual friends at a concert, dated for 2 years, married for 6. It was raining that Tuesday night when everything changed. My wife's car wouldn't start after her late meeting. She called me to bring the portable jump starter. That's when I found it, hidden under a blanket in her trunk. Premium fishing gear. It looked like the expensive kind you see in those specialty outdoor shops. Neither of us had ever picked up a fishing rod in our lives. I stood there in the rain, staring at this mystery equipment. 2 high-end Shimano rods, a Tackle Warehouse premium box, even waterproof waders. Must have cost thousands. "What's all this fishing gear?" I asked when she came out. She froze for a split second. "Oh, that belongs to Mike from work. He needed somewhere to store it. His wife doesn't like it in their garage." Seemed reasonable enough at first, but something felt off. Why would her coworker trust her with expensive equipment? Why hide it under a blanket? And who was this Mike guy? In 9 years together, she'd never mentioned him. I jumped her car, drove home separately. That night I couldn't sleep. The image of that hidden gear kept floating in my mind. The next morning, I started paying attention, really paying attention. Her late meetings were always on Thursdays and Fridays, prime fishing days, according to the weather app I downloaded. She'd come home with her hair slightly damp, blamed it on the gym shower. But the gym bag in her car was always dry. I checked her insurance company's website. No Mike was listed among the agents. The mystery deepened. One day, while she was showering, I checked her phone. A text from Mike's office caught my eye. "Great catch yesterday. Can't wait for next week's trip." My stomach turned. I scrolled through their messages, all coded in fishing terms. The bass are biting at the South Dock. Perfect weather for casting. Got new gear for our next adventure. They were not talking about fish. They were talking about their meetups. I started documenting everything. Every late meeting, every fishing reference, every time that mystery gear moved positions in her trunk. I noticed other changes too. New clothes I'd never seen, waterproof makeup, a hidden waterproof phone case. She was actually going near water, but not for fishing. One Thursday, I called in sick to work, followed her after her meeting. She drove to Lake Morrison, popular spot for afternoon fishing, and apparently afternoon affairs. A blue pickup truck was waiting. Guy looked to be in his 40s, fit, carrying matching gear to what was in her trunk. They didn't even look around, just headed straight for his lakeside cabin. 3 hours later, they emerged, hair wet, laughing, carrying the fishing equipment like a cover story. I waited 2 more days, gathered more evidence, took photos of the mystery gear, screenshots of text, pictures of cabin meetups. Then on Sunday morning, I laid everything out right next to her coffee cup. Want to tell me about the fishing trips? She nearly choked on her coffee. "What are you talking about?" I spread out the photos, the expensive gear in your trunk, the Thursday meetups at Lake Morrison, Mike's cabin by the water. Her face went pale. "You followed me? Funny that's what you're worried about. Not the fact you're cheating, not the lies about fishing equipment, not the fake work meetings." She started crying. "It's not what you think. I am not doing anything with him." "Really?" I laughed. "Because I think you're sleeping with a guy named Mike, using fishing as a cover story. How long has this been going on?" 3 months, she whispered. Nope, you are lying to me, I said. I pulled out more photos. The gear receipts go back further than that. Stop lying to me. How long? She put her hands over her face. 10 months, she admitted. Met him at a client meeting. He sells insurance too, just in a different office. I nodded slowly. So you brought matching fishing equipment to hide your afternoon hookups at his lake cabin? Real classy. She tried reaching for my hand. I pulled away. His wife knows now, I said. Her head snapped up. What? Yeah, I found her. Sent her all the evidence. The mystery gear in your trunk. The cabin meetups. Everything. You can't do that, she screamed. Already did. Just like I already called a divorce lawyer. You're not the only one who can document things. I've got 10 months of evidence. Every receipt for that fishing gear. Every fake meeting. Every cabin rendezvous. She started sobbing harder. Please, can we talk about this? We can work through this. Work through what? Your water sports with Mike? Your mystery afternoon disappearances? The lies about client meetings? I pulled out more photos. Lake Morrison timestamps. Cabin visits. The divorce moved quickly. Mike's wife filed for divorce too. Turns out we were not the only ones they fooled. Mike's wife was doing her own investigation as well because of his behavior. She found 3 other women, 3 other sets of fishing equipment, 3 other destroyed marriages. The judge was really harsh on my wife about using our hard-earned money for her affair with Mike. My lawyer had a field day. Used marital funds to facilitate infidelity. The mystery unraveled fast. Mike's insurance license was suspended. Turns out he was promising things to these other women regarding insurance. My wife did not lose her job, but she was reprimanded. Word sort of got around about my wife and her AP. The divorce was finalized in a few months. She didn't contest anything. She really didn't have a leg to stand on. The evidence was too clear. That expensive gear, sold it all on eBay. Donated the money to a local youth fishing program. Seemed fitting somehow. Mike's wife got the cabin in their divorce. Turned it into a legitimate fishing retreat for parents and their kids. The healing process took time. Some days were harder than others. I kept bartending at the restaurant, telling stories to strangers about mystery fishing gear and unfaithful spouses. Tips got better when I shared my story. Funny how people relate to betrayal. 9 months passed, then a year. I heard my ex-wife moved to another state. She started fresh where nobody knew about her fishing equipment affair. Mike ended up divorced and bankrupt. His insurance scam caught up with him. He ended up losing his license in 3 states. His wife kept the cabin. Karma works in mysterious ways. I started dating again. Met a marine biologist. The strange thing is, she actually knows how to fish. She told me she grew up with 3 other brothers, and they all taught her how to fish. Takes me out sometimes, teaching me the right way to use gear. No mysteries, no lies, just honest fishing. Our restaurant regulars love the story, how fishing gear exposed an affair. They bring me articles about crazy ways that a husband or wife found out that their spouse was cheating. The gear laid out in her trunk. Reminder of how secrets surface, like fish in shallow water. Update 2 years later. Life has a way of teaching you lessons. That mystery equipment changed everything. For the better, looking back now. Remember that marine biologist I met? Nope, we didn't get married, but we are still seeing each other. She teaches me about real fishing. My ex-wife, I believe she is still single and still living out of state, teaching insurance classes ironically. Mike served 6 months for insurance fraud, lost everything. His wife turned the cabin into a success story. The cabin she got in the divorce sells out monthly. I still bartend some weekends, tell this story to whoever needs to hear it, about trust, about mystery gear, about how infidelity floats to the surface, like everything else in water. My girlfriend keeps her fishing equipment in plain sight. No blankets covering truth, no hidden meanings, just real catches. Real love, real life. In some cases, the best stories start with mystery, end with clarity, like a clear day on the lake. Update 2. 3 years after the mystery. You know what's funny about life? Just when you think the story's over, there's another chapter. I got an interesting email last week from Mike's ex-wife, the cabin owner. Her fishing retreat program exploded. That cabin is finally sold out. It made enough money for her to consider a second location. She even hired someone to teach the kids and their parents about fishing. She uses the old gear from my ex-wife's trunk. My ex-wife tried reaching out recently. She tried using Facebook. I forgot about Facebook, but I blocked her immediately. I didn't have anything to say to her. Remember Mike? He's working at a sporting goods store now in Wyoming, selling fishing gear of all things. Can't sell insurance anymore, but he can sell the equipment that exposed him. My marine biologist girlfriend is pregnant now. We're having a girl. Already bought her first fishing rod. The restaurant where I bartend added a drink to their menu, called it the Mystery Catch. Customers love ordering it, especially when they hear the story behind it. Some regulars bring their dates there to hear about the fishing gear that caught a cheater. It's become a local legend. Sometimes I think about that rainy Tuesday when I found that gear in our trunk. How something so simple changed so many lives, ended an insurance fraud by Mike, brought truth to the surface like a fish taking the bait. They say time heals all wounds, but sometimes it does more than that. Sometimes it turns wounds into wisdom, infidelity into inspiration. Our daughter will learn to fish properly. Final update, 5 years after the mystery. Life has a way of coming full circle. Remember Mike's ex-wife? Her fishing retreat even made the news a few times. The retreat seems to also be a foundation for healing, built from broken trust and mystery gear. My daughter's 4 now. She's already better at fishing than I am. No mysteries in her world. Just pure joy when she catches something. The biggest surprise came last month. Mike passed away. He suffered a heart attack on a real fishing trip. I found out that my ex-wife showed up at the funeral, but now my ex-wife volunteers now, teaching ethics to insurance agents, uses her story as a warning about infidelity, about lies. I quit bartending last year. I teach physical education full-time now, coach the school's new fishing club. Life has a funny way of healing, of turning pain into purpose. That rainy Tuesday changed everything, but maybe it was supposed to. Sometimes the best lessons come from the worst betrayals. Well, why would his wife leave a fishing rod covered up in the trunk? Did she not think her husband would eventually find it? If you think about it, she really didn't do a good job of hiding her infidelity. Well, she got caught, no matter how you look at it. Now he has a daughter, and to my surprise, he didn't marry his girlfriend, which in my opinion, I think will change.